Okay, clip number 3. This is component 2, and we're going to have a quick look at 7 and 8 mark responses. We are still in section A and B. I'll deal with fieldwork questions a little bit later on. You've got 2 8 mark questions here, extended writing. They are very, very different to the ones on the first exam. One will be UK human, as is this one, and the other one will be UK physical. First big difference is they give you a resource. In this case it's a map. I think it could be a table, a photograph, a series of maps, but they give you a resource and they want you to use it. There are some similarities. It's still marked level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1 is 1 to 3, level 2 is 4 to 6, level 3 is 7 to 8. One of them will have 4 marks extra. This is your example here for spelling, punctuation and grammar, but how these are actually marked is different. They're looking for 2 things really. They are looking for geographical skills and they are looking for application. So previously we were after knowledge and understanding. This time we're not. We're after skills marks and we're after kind of thinking about the skills marks. Now, when my group first did this last year, they got incredibly confused about what to do. There was this sort of map, there was this information about analyse it with a key. Did I analyse it? Did I not? Did that link to it? Did I not? They got incredibly confused, partly because of the way that the exam paper was set out in that, and I'm not sure if this one does it actually, but they got the resource and analyse on a different page. They then turned over and there was a question and they weren't sure if the 2 things were actually connected together. Well, they are connected together. And when something says analyse, you've got to sort of spot the main patterns and trends on the resource. Okay, now this example here, we have got the percentage of the population in England and Wales. Oh look, they've got rid of Scotland, so anybody that tries to write about Scotland is going to, you know, fail on basic geography. Born outside the UK based on 2001 census data. There's a little key that gives us the idea of percentages, and they've totalled up the number of areas. Okay, so you've got 7 areas that are below 2.5 and below. You've got 65 different areas that are 15.1 and above. Total number of areas. So they've actually given you quite a lot of information. Now, how I would tackle this, I think the easiest thing to do is actually get your skills marks first. There is nothing to stop you writing all over this resource, okay? And that's what I would do. I'd be looking for, well, where's it high? And if I've read my key, you know, I can start to circle where you've got these high, big blobs, for want of a better word, high numbers of people born outside the UK. I could then look for the opposite pattern. Where's it lower? Yeah, and there are big, big chunks of the country where it's lower. Third thing I might be looking for are the kind of anomalies. You know, we've got Devon and Cornwall down here fairly low, and we've got a little high bit round there. We've got most of Wales low, we've got a little higher bit round there, okay? I'm trying to find the patterns. What I would then do is set my answer out a bit like this. Leave a couple of lines between each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and leave myself space for a conclusion. 4 marks available for skills. 4 marks, describe the pattern. Birmingham here actually comes in very, very useful, because if you can mark on where we are, and I always go with the Isle of Wight, middle of Cardigan Bay, that's about where we are. You could use Birmingham and the West Midlands as the centre of your compass. Now if you don't know what these areas are called, you don't know that's Devon and Cornwall, you don't know that's London, use Birmingham as the centre of your compass. So the southeast of England, there's my first pattern, and the area around London has the highest percentage population born outside the UK. Quote figure. Many of these areas are 15.1% and above. I'd write that in there. I've just found a pattern. Find another pattern. Go back to your map. A lot of urban areas in the southeast of the country and the east of the country also have higher rates, quote pattern. Go for the opposite. Areas on the west, Wales, Devon and Cornwall, the far north, the east coast, have much, much lower levels of percentage population born outside the UK, quote data, 2.5% and below. And I would try and guarantee that what I'm going to do is get 4 out of 8 for skills. Maybe the fourth pattern, I might go with an anomaly, or something that, you know, that there sticks out, doesn't it, as being much higher than its surrounding area. Okay, but I can guarantee myself 4 out of 8. What I've then got to think about, once I've found my patterns and got my skills marks, is then for each sort of pattern that I've described, I've then almost got to think about this bit down here. Assess the causes. Assess causes, variations, distribution, figure 7. What I'm doing with the underlining is making myself slow down and actually read that question properly, and then I'm picking out the main bits. Variations. Why is it different? Why have I got some bits that are higher? Why have I got some bits that are lower? As shown in figure 7, just referring to the map, obviously. Okay? And this is where under each pattern, I've got to sort of use my human geography knowledge to try and explain why they are different. You know, with human geography, there's never a single answer, but think about, you know, well, why London? Why this part of the country? It's immigration patterns, isn't it? It's migration into the country. It's employment opportunities. This is where the service jobs are. This is where the new quaternary jobs are. This is where the wealth is. This is where there's more services and access to education. This bit up here, you know, thinking about Wales in the north, is fairly rural and fairly remote. If I've described that as a pattern, I could sort of think about opposite reasons as to why it's so low. The urban areas also seem to have slightly higher concentration, like Birmingham. Use your local knowledge. And again, under each pattern, try and assess the causes. Try and give reasons for it. Okay? And which reason you think is more important. In my conclusion, I would then think about... well, actually, it's very difficult to explain. There isn't one single reason why London has got more people in it who weren't born in the UK. There has to be a series of reasons that are quite interlinked and connected together. And things may have changed over time. You know, we're no longer getting the same migration patterns or the same economic growth patterns that we were. Okay? The idea behind this structure is that then, hopefully, I'm hitting 4 out of 8 without even thinking about it, but I'm then pushing that mark even higher, you know, with a good couple of explanations and ideas and bits of human geography that I've applied to that map. I might be getting towards a 6. My conclusion, with my own thoughts and views and trying to get over this idea of things being complex and things varying, that means they change over space and time, and we can't identify a single cause, that there's lots of things, human and physical, that may go into this. You know, a straightforward physical one. Well, this is the closest point to the continent. So if you are having higher rates of people from outside the UK, this is the obvious place where most people are going to arrive. My conclusion is what turns that, hopefully, from a 6-mark answer into an 8-mark response. Okay? Now, I would approach the physical one in exactly the same way. The one on this exam was trying to suggest to you that there was a connection between climate, precipitation and land use. And they'd actually given you 2 sets of resources. If there's 2 sets of resources, what they want you to try and do is link them together. Okay, so that was just a singular one, the human one, but if there's 2 sets of resources, I would try and actually link them together. But again, it's the same style of question, isn't it? Assess the influence of that on that. How far is that linking with that? Get your skills in. Think about ideas for yes, it is linking, no, it's not linking, why is it linking, why is it not linking, conclusion. It's a very, very complex thing, is land use, because you can get minimum 4 out of 8 just by picking up those skills marks, which is really, really just about reading the resources, quoting the data. The one thing I perhaps maybe didn't mention is data manipulation. So I think in class I looked at my group with one that was a map of the UK, and it was properties at risk. And we drew a line down the middle of the UK, so we added up the number of properties at risk on the east coast, we added up the number of properties at risk on the west coast, you've got your calculator, we found a pattern that way. So you could also do data manipulation. One thing that is quite interesting about this map is, although it's not got percentages on there, you can estimate. So, you know, I'm sort of thinking that high rainfall is occupying what? It's got to be a good third to a half, 40-45% of Scotland is going to be high levels of rainfall. So you can also estimate, there's nothing wrong with that. Looking at this one here, what dominates the land use is poor quality farmland. It's got to be way over 50% of Scotland is poor quality farmland. So again, when you're analysing things, don't just quote the data, but also try and manipulate it and estimate, and where they don't give you a percentage, throw percentages in. One thing to watch will be the units. If I'm trying to describe a pattern of rainfall, I don't really want to read in an answer that rainfall is 600. 600 what? 600 dead cats? I've no idea. Please make sure that you put the units in, 600 millimetres, so therefore it stands a chance of making some kind of sense. Okay? Right, that is pretty much A and B. I will have a quick look at next, I think, for the next clip, field work questions, which are all our absolute favourites.